I normally go into a frenzy. I normally have tears. I'm normally very stressed out when things don't work out. I'm saying to you, there's this quote that I keep saying, delay is a blessing. Hi guys, welcome to the flip side of Joshuanette's world. Over here, we talk about finance, lucrative lifestyle choices, investment, and personal development. Guys, this is part 2 to that video that I did before, where I was doing 10 things that I wish I knew before, and I'm adding another 10 to those things, so we're now up to 20 things. So if you didn't watch part 1, you can click the card above after watching this video, or you can go watch that video and come right back to 10 other things I wish I knew when I was 20 years old. So guys, in that video I said that we must confront childhood trauma and talk about it. Another thing I wish I knew: our parents are also human. I know, we know that they're human, we know that our parents are human, but in the back of our heads, they're like, they should have done this, they should have done this, they should have done this, and we forget that they also make mistakes. There's no manual about being a parent. Some of them have childhood traumas, some of them have scars that they're also dealing with, and that is why we must always remember that our parents are also human. They're also fighting demons, they also have emotions, and I know there are many of our parents who are toxic. There are many of our family and siblings and many things who are toxic, but we always have to remember not just our parents are human. The people who are older than us, like our grandparents, our elders, they are also humans, and they also make mistakes, and there is no book. There's no book, there's no guideline to being an adult, there's no guideline to being a parent, so they are gonna make mistakes. Number 2, and I learned this the hard way: not because I want good for you, that means you want good for you. Let me say that again. Not because I want good for you, that means you want good for you. I learned that, my personality is this. It's literally a volcano. It erupts all the time. I am normally on a high. I am normally very optimistic. I am normally very friendly. I am normally very, sometimes I would say, aggressive, and I can come off as, harsh. However, my intentions are normally pure, and the individuals around me, I always want good for them. So I would say, go get that car, go get your driver's license, and I'm here encouraging you, do this, I am doing it, you can do it too. And that's always been my momentum, my friend, go get your driver's license. Go get your driver's license. I know the person know who I'm talking to, but still, the point is, I'm saying, I had to learn, not because I want good for you, you want good for you. And it's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you see potential in your friends, you see that they can do stuff. I'm I wish you would just do a bit more with your time. I wish you would leave this toxic relationship. I wish you would make better financial decisions. I wish you were better when you came to work. I wish you were better. I always wish the best for individuals, and I had to learn that not because I wanted good for people, they wanted good for themselves. It has to come from within. One of my friends to say, she always says, some people, they don't see a problem, and that is because they themselves, within themselves, they're fighting some demons, and that is deep. It's deep. The surface is what you see, that anger, that frustration is what you see, but what is happening within that person is way deeper. And Joshuanette, not because you want good for the person means that that person wants good for themselves. And you also need to know that some of your friends, some of your relationships, some of your family members, like, you want the best for them, you're pushing them, you're motivating them, and they don't want good for themselves. And unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do about that. Number 3, attaching on to number 2, we have to accept people for who they are. Like my mother, I've accepted who she is. Like, she knows who she is, you know. I love her now, but she knows who she is. Like, not one, like 2 of my siblings, I've accepted them for who they are. Actually, all my siblings. Like, we are literally yin and yang. Like, some of us, like, we're like, you would see us and like, your siblings, and I'm like, yes. Like my brother, he's super quiet. I called him on the phone the other day, right? And I'm like, so you're gonna call your brother and have a conversation with him? He's like, no. I'm like, you're not gonna call him? And he's like, no. And I'm here trying to debate. I'm like, and my brother, he is always like this, like always mellow. And then I'm just like, and then he's mellow. And then all the time, like, maybe he just doesn't. Some days I'm like, you have emotions. Like, he's always this, always, no matter the circumstance. Like, our mother, she's in the hospital, she's in the ICU, there's 2 blood clots in her lung, and this is me bawling my eyes out, like, oh my God, she's gonna die. And I am being my regular Joshuanette self, and my brother, like, literally, my other brother comes by my mom, and again, his personality is like me. We're always like volcanoes erupting, and he's like, and my other brother, like, mellow, like, and I've had to learn that, you know, that is who he is. And I'm saying to you, like, a day I'm walking down and I see the sticker on his car that says Joshuanette's World, and I'm saying to you, like, a little light bulb went off into my heart, because I'm like, you know, my brother isn't the type to go and be like, go watch my sister's video. Like, he isn't gonna be that type. He isn't gonna be the type to be like, share my videos and stuff. And he probably watches them in secret. I know he does, to give me watch time minutes. But I'm just like, I'm saying to you, like, some people, and I had to learn that the hard way, they're like this. And I'm like, I spoke to a pastor this year. He's like, you know, Joshua, you have to accept that your personality is flair. Like, you're always on a high, and sometimes that's why when you get on a low, you get on a really, really bad low. But I'm saying to you, like, sometimes we just have to accept people for who they are. There's some of our friends, they're just gonna be who they are. Like, I've learned that the hard way. There is me saying, I want a car, I want a house, I want a mortgage, I want this and I want that, and I have friends who are not doing that, and then I'm here trying to say, like, you know, we can do, and then they're not, because I had to learn the hard way that some people are just not as bubbly, some people are not as flary, some people don't like fighting for things. I had to learn that. There are many people, like, for me, it is, I will be the one standing in the staff meeting cursing about the fact that something isn't wrong. Well, not literally cursing, but I'm here expressing my opinion about something, and then there are people who just, and it's not that they don't care, but that's just not that's not their type, that's just not their style. And then there is me again. I can talk about my second job. Like, I get there and I'm like, although the place is burning down and things aren't going right, I'm like, it's the best place on earth. And then everybody's like, Joshuanette, I literally just want to punch you in your face, you're so annoying. And I had to learn that the hard way too, that you have to accept people for who they are. There's some people who are bubbly, there's some people who are not, there's some people who are friendly, there's some people who are just miserable, there's some people who are negative, and there's some people who are positive. And I had to learn, like, the hard way. I'm telling you, I have had negativity. Like, there's some people, right? I'm just saying, you gotta learn Like one of my friends, Catherine, said to me years ago, and like she said it to me and only recently like it clicked. She said, you have to love people for who they are. So she said to me like she has a friend and she's like, you just gotta accept that this person isn't as giving, isn't as bubbly, isn't as caring. So whereas, we have a different relationship where, what is mine is yours, what is yours is mine. Some people are not like that, and you just have to accept that. And I learned that the hard way, the hard way. So this brings us to point number 4. Me learning the hard way that you have to accept people for who they are. I had to tell myself a few times, even this year, Joshuanette, everybody is not you. Your fights, your struggles, your way of looking at things is different than somebody else. I was born a fighter. I'm gonna say that. I am somebody who is normally willing to fight for stuff. But I'm saying to you, and I will say to anybody, fighting for stuff comes at a cost. So you get super exhausted. Sometimes you get so emotionally wrapped up in it. Sometimes you forget that it's not your fight. I remember there was a recent situation this year, and I remember in the group chat, I was saying to my friend, it's not our fight. It's not our fight. It's not our fight. We don't need to call this person. We don't need to go on social media. We don't need to send a message. It's not our fight. It's not our fight. And there have been many instances where I want to be vocal about something, and then I have to be like, Joshua, everybody isn't you. Or I wish that somebody would stand up for themselves. I wish that somebody would be not as aggressive as I am, but I wish they just looked at it differently. And then again, I have to learn that everybody isn't Joshuanette. Like, I'm gonna give you a prime example. Me purchasing land, me taking that risk. A lot of people that I've spoken to, they will say, Joshuanette, why can't you buy land? Joshuanette, why can't you do that? Joshuanette, like, it's the same thing with buying my car. There's always somebody who's gonna come at you, and then you have to learn, like, you're walking this walk, and it's your walk, it is your story. Nobody is Joshuanette, and nobody is whoever you are that's watching this video. You're gonna make decisions, you're gonna make choices that only you understand. And no matter how many conversations you have, no matter how you break, you're literally gonna break it down. 1 + 1 = 2. They're never gonna understand, because that person is not you. You are unique. You are beautiful. You are special. You are talented. You are you, and nobody else can be you, and nobody else is gonna understand you like you. Nobody's gonna make decisions for you like you. Nobody's gonna love your stuff like you do. When you get into that zone where you're like, I am who I am, and I will say I am Joshuanette, and nobody else is Joshuanette, you have to get to that zone where you're saying, I am this, and I'm going to accept people for who they are, and I'm going to understand that people don't see things from my perspective. Let's talk about Apple. Let's talk about people with Windows. Let's talk about KFC, and we can talk about all these big brand names. A lot of people came up to them and they're like, that don't make no sense. It doesn't make sense. But once you believe in it and you think it's good, it is going to work out. Number 5, and I keep saying to you guys, like, these things I wish I knew. I wish somebody taught me how to control my emotions. Like, nobody taught me how to control my emotions. I said to you, they always said, like, I have come to disagree with the way in which society puts across certain things. Like, for instance, the perfect example, when we were growing up, they said to us, if somebody hit you, well, I'm going to give you the auntie gun. If somebody knock you, knock them back. If somebody says something about your mama not have no feelings. Like, no, like, I have read books and I've learned that is the worst advice ever. Like, when somebody says something to you about your parent, about your other half, that emotion that you feel. And again, that's why one of my things that emotions are normal. While I believe the emotion that we feel is normal, I feel that we must learn to control that emotion. And that is where we as a society do not put emphasis on. We're not telling people, somebody spits in your face, your natural reaction is to punch this person. Somebody hits you, your natural reaction is to hit them back. Somebody does something bad to you, your natural reaction is revenge. However, we do not have to take that route. Breathe in and breathe out. 1, 2, 3. Woosah. Find a mediator. There are different ways to handle our emotions. Nobody said to me, and again, I come from a family that they assume that emotions are irrelevant. So my mother is in the hospital bed in the ICU and I'm crying and they think I'm crazy. Like, people cry when people die. They go to funerals and they think you are a wuss if you cry. Like, who does these crazy things? I know they're watching this video and probably cursing me, but y'all know I'm talking the truth. There are some weird ways about the fact that emotion should not be shown. Like, why won't you tell me that you love me? Like, just say it. Show it to me. Like, let me understand my emotions. But I'm saying to you, I do not remember somebody saying to me, Joshuanette, being angry is normal, but here are some tips to controlling your anger. Tip number 1, we are going to go breathe in. Breathe out. Tip number 2, we're going to be pinching. I've learned that by myself. So when I'm angry, I shake my feet and I tap my fingers and nobody taught me that. Nobody said count to 10. Nobody said, nobody teaches you that you getting angry is normal. But here are some tips. Here are some ways. I'll probably do a video about the ways that I've learned to control my anger. Like, controlling not just your anger, controlling happiness, controlling sadness. Nobody taught us how to control our emotions. And it's something that we're learning along the way. And I wish there's so many things that I've been right for, but my reaction has been wrong, which have rubbed persons the wrong way. Like, controlling your emotions is vital. Understanding your emotions, emotional intelligence, it is vital. Number 6, get up and work out. If you haven't watched my video about my diagnostic story, when I listen to myself, some days I literally just want to cuff myself at the back of my head. But one thing I wish I was doing, which somebody told me, keep active. When you're in secondary school, we're playing sports, so we're active, and then as soon as we get a job, we're not as active, hence us gaining so much weight. And once you put on the weight, it is so hard to get off. Literally, I wish somebody was saying to me, Joshuanette, keep active, get up and exercise, be a bit more healthy. Number 7, I said this in one of my videos before, my biggest issue, and again, not just this year, but this year I had a real deep introspection. I was like, Joshua, you need to be a bit more grateful. In my video where I was talking about buying my car, I forget so many days what it was like getting the bus, and I forget to be grateful. And I watched the Steve Harvey video and he said I can list 50 things right now that you don't think is a blessing that is a blessing. And I'm saying to you, I've lived to see that. Getting up and putting a key in your car is a blessing. Getting up in itself is a blessing. walking is a blessing. Like, I've met this young man and my heart goes out. Like, nobody needs you to feel sorry for them, but I am not grateful that I can walk, but you're in a wheelchair. I've watched videos where I recognize, Joshua, you have all of your teeth, like I can't remember. There is this Born Different and Shape My Beauty, and it gives you stories of different people with different diagnostic things, and they don't have a teeth. I'm like, you're here, you have teeth. That's something to be grateful for. You have hair on your head. Your parents are still alive. We're in a pandemic, and Joshuanette, you have gone to work every single day for this pandemic. You have not been out of a job. You have some place to call. Is it ideal? Is it what you want for yourself? No, but you have some place to call home. Somebody is currently homeless. You were given the opportunity to get an education. Somebody else was not. Like, there's so many things that we should be grateful for that we're not grateful for because we oversee them, and it's like, okay, it's nothing. But I'm saying, like, I've learned being a part of the disability society, like interacting with people now and talking about my diagnosis, talking about my needs. I learned that, there's so much to be grateful for. Like, there's so much to be grateful for. And I'm saying there are many things we take for granted. I'm saying to you, like, literally take for granted that somebody wish they had the opportunity to do what we can do. Number 8, and it's something that I have done in the past and something that I shied away from a few times, and looking back, I wish I would have stood up, said that something. If you believe it's right, stand up for it. Like, this generation, we are taught to stick within the norms of society, so we don't stand up for stuff anymore. We're not like activists, and I've learned that you have to believe in something, and when you believe in it, stand up for it. Say something, make a difference. Your voice, your action can make a change in somebody's life. We can make changes in people's life if sometimes we talk up or if sometimes we stand up. Number 9, guys, sorry. A big one. Like, I talk a lot, but I've learned that you don't need to talk to somebody because you're depressed. Many times we think that we need to speak to a therapist because we're depressed, or we need to speak to a pastor, or we need to speak to our friends because we're depressed. But sometimes you just need to talk to somebody because you need to get another opinion. Like, again, this year I have done some personal digging, and I had conversations with a pastor. I had conversation with a financial advisor, well, 2 financial advisors. I had a conversation with other people, and it's not necessarily because I felt depressed, but because I wanted somebody's opinion about something. And I would say, like, it is good to get advice from people who've been through things. Like, if I wanted advice about getting a mortgage, the perfect person is to talk to somebody who had a mortgage, who has a mortgage. I want to find out, like, am I making the best financial moves? The best person is to talk to is a financial advisor. We don't always need to seek therapy when we're stressed out and depressed. Sometimes we just need to seek therapy, seek clarification, and sometimes that clarification cannot come from our friends. When I spoke to the pastor, he said to me, Joshuanette, you should know that your parents and your friends can only guide you as far as they can see. If your parents never started a business, they can't give you advice about starting a business. If your parents never had retirement savings and putting things in place for you and putting things in place for them, how can they really guide you? Sometimes you need to step out of your circle immediately and have a conversation with somebody who is above you, somebody who is doing boss move, somebody who's doing great things. Like, have a conversation with them and not have a conversation with your friends, because you need somebody who is greater, somebody who has greater knowledge than you do. And talking about stuff does not mean that you are depressed. It does not mean that you're stressed out. Sometimes you just need clarity on things. And number 10, I have had a hard time accepting things when they don't work out. Like, I normally go into a frenzy. I normally have tears. I'm normally very stressed out when things don't work out. Like, I'm saying to you, like, there's this quote that I keep saying, like, delay is a blessing. Delay is a blessing. When things don't work out, it's not supposed to work out. It is a blessing, and sometimes it takes a really long time. But I wish somebody would have said that to me, like, delay is a blessing, Joshuanette. Like, delayed blessings are always the best blessings. Delayed, and it's gonna be better. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching today's video. 10 things that I wish somebody would have told me when I was 20. So now we're at 20. So you have 20 things that I personally wish that somebody said to me when I was younger. If you have any additional tips, leave it in the comment below. Ensure you check out that other video. And guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for sharing this video. Click that subscribe button, and until the next one, bye.